So this is a one-handed Xbox controller. There's a guy out there named Ben Heck who makes them, and I watched a bunch of his videos and found other random sources of information on the internet, and I built one for my buddy who had a stroke, and that's where he started making his from. Is someone accessibility issues, needed a one-handed controller, he started making them. I made mine a little bit different. Mine doesn't move the right joystick to the underside of the controller so that you move it around with your knee. So basically I'm going to show you what I did and a brief overview of it in case you're interested. No, I probably can't make one for you because it took me like 40 hours and I'd have to charge like $1,000 for it. So, but anyways, here's the controller. So it is a typical original Xbox One controller, and what I did was, as you can see, the A, B, X, Y buttons, I cloned them and moved them over to the other side and made a little pedestal for them to sit on out of ABS plastic. Those buttons did not replace the A, B, X, Y buttons, it just duplicates them. They both work. I changed the orientation too so that they are relative. The proximity to the joystick is the same. So left is still the same. These are duplicates of the A, B, X, Y buttons. This right here, you see that second little joystick there? That is actually a 5-way tact switch, which, and then there's a center button. That replaces the D-pad, so that's your up, down, left, right for the D-pad, and then the center click replaces the right shoulder button, because I really couldn't come up with a great place to move that RB button to. Now on the back, so there's just an extension I made that moves the right trigger over to your left hand, and then I put this joystick on the back side that points forward. So when you're holding it, you've got your pointer finger and your thumb controlling both directions. Again, this little thing here I molded with ABS plastic, and then molded it in with a plastic welder and sanded it and painted it. And yeah, so I didn't really move the triggers. I extended the trigger. The triggers are kind of hard to move because they are Hall effect sensors. They're not just like off and on, complete the circuit to ground sensors. They're Hall effect sensors. If you don't know what a Hall effect sensor is, Google it. And the pickup for that sensor is very, very tiny. I didn't even want to attempt to remove it from the board because then you got to print some sort of mechanism that creates another trigger. But anyways, yeah, here it is. Boom. Made it for my buddy. Used to have a radio show, Future Static. Still does music posts and stuff. Check out his Facebook page, by the way. Like it, follow, smash that like button. But yeah, so one-handed controller. Again, shout out to Ben Heck. There's a guy named Ben Heck who makes these. Watched some of his videos, found diagrams online. Just various sources of information was just enough for me to figure out how to do this. What I wanted to do different was his puts the right joystick on the underside of the right hand side so that you move it around with your knee. I felt like you couldn't really get a fine motor control with that. So anyways, I'm about to take this to my buddy and give it to him. Hopefully he likes it and that this allows him to play video games again. If you have questions, you can send me a question. It wasn't that difficult, but it wasn't real easy either. If you're not super handy, you might not want to try it. Especially soldering really, really, really tiny shit. That's it. One-handed Xbox controller. Everything works. Boom, little window there I put because that joystick went away. I had to put something there. Thanks.